In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look here at the tropics where we do have a tropical storm, thankfully not expected to impact the United States. We're going to be taking a look at multiple cold fronts coming through, most models suggesting about 3 through the very early portion of November, and that will actually bring a lot more precipitation eastward. So for those of you who have noticed in the east that it's been dry, which is probably everyone, it is expected to finally bring a little bit of precipitation. With those cold fronts, we could see some showers and thunderstorms along them. So a little bit more action in today's video overall. Taking a look here first off at our European ensemble models spaghetti model plot. We do see a little bit of low pressure action happening here across the Central America region. I don't expect too much to come from that. This is our tropical storm there by the western tip, or eastern tip, better yet, of Cuba here. It's located right there, and this one is expected to kind of meander northward for basically the entirety of its lifetime, and it could still maintain at a pretty decent storm by the time it's impacting perhaps Newfoundland up here. So that's definitely a concern for them, even the coast of Nova Scotia, as this storm potentially draws pretty close. However, we don't expect anything insanely major out of it, and this will feel a lot more like a decent nor'easter for those folks. Looking at the GFS model, we get quite a bit of agreement here. There's obviously a lot of just a mess happening here. We do see this storm meandering its way northward, maybe a little bit further offshore here on the GFS ensemble model. But regardless, it's really nice to see these areas here nearby the Gulf and East Coast pretty much empty. We do have a little bit of activity perhaps popping up there near the Gulf, but that is hardly anything when we consider that this is about 30 models put together. This is definitely a good look if you're in the United States concerned about tropical activity. Let's take a look here at the overall upcoming pattern when we look at just the storms, the frontal boundaries here. And as we look at this afternoon on Monday, October 21st, we do see some showers, even snow showers happening here in the Pacific Northwest. We do see this kind of continued little bout of thunderstorms and severe weather occurring there for Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. That's definitely something that I am watching for here. Let's just take a look at tomorrow on Tuesday, the 22nd, and what we see is the works of a cold front moving eastward. We do see this kind of surge of warmth out west, some low pressure systems, one primary, which I'm underlining, and a secondary low underneath it developing. This is creating a warm front look here to the east, and overall a dragging cold front behind and underneath these lows. So what we'll see in this case is surging warmth to the east for now, which is bringing this very pleasant weather. It's about 73, 74 here in Virginia. Absolutely stunning weather here. Super thankful for that. But there is some much cooler weather moving in as we see this cold front is beginning its dive into the Midwest and northern plains. This will be headed eastward. Let's take a look at Wednesday on October 23rd, and this is a really good look. We have this strong low up here in eastern Canada, secondary low underneath, this cold front kind of meandering down, and we have colder air overall taking over here for the east. Again, I mentioned this a couple videos ago, but don't just pay attention to the blue. You want to pay attention to overall the dip here. There is cooler temperatures being experienced likely for all of these areas compared to what's normal. Unless you're here, this might be more neutral or above normal. That's definitely something that we're watching. As we watch this one pass through for kind of the overnight Wednesday, Thursday, we do see precipitation in the mid-Atlantic and northeast there, as you can see, before it kind of lifts off and gives way to a little bit of a warmer pattern come Thursday. So it's a very short-lived cool down, that first one. A weaker low is taking place over Kansas. We do see some precipitation, especially to the north and east of that low for states like Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota there. We're seeing showers and thunderstorms taking place there. Let's just keep this going. I want to take us towards Friday here on October 25th. We do see a low further north near the Hudson Bay, which has been a popular spot for these lows to hit. A very weak cold front. And what we're seeing is a little bit of a bit of warmth out west. Again, look for those bows. And then we're seeing the little bit of dippage happening here in the east, indicative of a trough trying to take place. Still some warmer air surging up the east coast, but that should come to an end by Saturday afternoon, where it's clear that there is a massive ridge in the west here. Again, I'm not going to do this the whole video, I promise, but we do have dippage in the west and troughing here in the east. And that is definitely indicative of warmer air pushing northward out west and cooler air pushing into the east here towards the south. So that is the overall pattern. Your jet stream is doing something like this: clear trough in the east, clear ridge in the west by the time we're reaching the weekend, Saturday here. Some storminess prevailing here for the Pacific Northwest up into western Canada. Snowfall for the mountains, obviously some rainfall in the lower and more coastal areas. As we keep going, I want to take us to where we actually get some precipitation in the east, because I really teased that. This will be Sunday afternoon on the 27th. We still have really cool air compared to normal here being experienced in the east. This is the afternoon. This is 2 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, and we do have some snowfall ongoing here for the mountainous northeast, like the Adirondacks, the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, and even the mountainous areas of Maine. So definitely a cold daytime temp there. Some showers being experienced across the deeper south as they experience some cooler weather as well. And we have a ridge featured over the central states. Still quite stormy for the Pacific Northwest. Same thing goes: high elevation snowfall, low elevation rainfall overall. Let's take it towards Monday afternoon, and this is when we start to see the warmth pushing back for the central and eastern states. It's still rather cold along the east, but it is pushing northward. Notice there's just more precipitation around than what we've been experiencing. You see the upper Midwest seeing some rainfalls, the southeast. It's been just so dry that this is even looking much more active than what we've been seeing. Quite a bit of Rocky Mountain snowfall happening, even Cascade snowfall here across both Canada and the northwest of the United States. As we take this towards Tuesday, this is when our major storm gets going over Minnesota. 987 there over central Minnesota. A really strong cold front look to the south and a really strong warm front look here to the east. So what we end up getting is this warm push to the east of that low, especially if you're more inland. There's still a little bit of like a backdoor cool down look here along the east coast. And then we have this cooler air diving in behind the cold front that is going to be on the move towards the east here. Again, this is Tuesday, the 29th. Don't be surprised to see some severe weather flare up here in the midst of this cold front, because we have so much intense rising warm motion out to the east here and a really intense cold kind of sweeping motion happening back west. And typically this is a really decent severe weather setup for those areas caught in the mix of all that. Wednesday, look at this explosive cold front. Look at this. This is Tuesday into Wednesday. This would be a major wind event, major thunderstorm event, even severe weather, and certainly a lot of showery activity happening along this. This is Wednesday the 30th. We have a 976 millibar low pressure center, bringing widespread activity, as you can see, around that low, and a really intense cold front here to the south, where we're experiencing thunderstorm activity, likely from the deep south through some of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and even into the Great Lakes and some of Canada. So really intense look there. Back west, we do have plenty of snowfall happening for the Rockies into the Cascades, with some coastal rainfall and lower elevation rainfall also happening. I'm so excited about this. I just feel like I forget what rain even feels like here in the east. I'm sure that's quite relatable. And it does hit the east coast, as you can see, by the time we're reaching Thursday. This is the very end of the model run, but this cold front is still looking rather intense here as it's arriving for the eastern seaboard. Lots of activity. Overall, cooler air moving in behind this cold front, and this should be an intense look. Still major snowfall happening out west due to those storms. So let's look at the total precipitation, and look at that. Actually some rainfall in the east. Anywhere in the greens is going to be under half an inch. Your grays is even lower than that, and whites is basically nothing. Your blues is going to be half an inch to an inch. Yellows are an inch to 2 inches. Reds are 2 to 5 inches there. So we're seeing plenty of 1 inch plus amounts expected for the Midwest here through Canada, where that major low tracks through, just like this. I'll draw an arrow, but it basically moves through like that. We also, with that cold front, get some hints of 1 inch to 2 inches for some of these areas. And overall, good rainfall for a lot of areas that have been much drier. We do see in the Pacific Northwest tons of precipitation out there as well. Plenty of 2 to 4 inch amounts expected for the Cascades and Northern Rockies. So we do expect a lot of snowfall. We'll get into that in a second, but let's look at the anomalies. And we see above average amounts throughout the Pacific Northwest, especially the mountainous areas. but also the upper Midwest into eastern Canada here with this low that tracks through. And then we get hints of it for areas near the Appalachian Mountain Range. I don't want anybody to be too concerned. This is going to be near normal rainfall amounts, so just slightly above normal for some of these green areas. This is overall good news for the surrounding areas that are very, very dry. Even these browns are a lot less brown than we were originally expecting. So if you get slightly below average precipitation, but you were originally expecting far below average, I'm sure you'll be happy with the slightly below average amounts. I certainly am at this point. Total snowfall, like I said, monstrous amounts out west. We see the Cascades, seeing feet of snowfall perhaps. Same story for the Canadian Rockies down through the U.S. Rockies, where we're seeing 1, 2, even 3 feet for some of these spots, maybe more for some very high elevation areas. So tons of Cascade and Rocky Mountain snowfall expected. We also see again in New England, some of those mountainous areas seeing some amounts of snowfall as well over the next 10 days. For the temperature pattern, here is today. We still have some cooler air around for the low temperatures in the southeast. We're overall warmer, as you can see, in the east with cooler temperatures out west. Here's cold front number 1, though. Here's Thursday. Some cooler temperatures for some of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Again, going to be pretty short-lived. Here's Friday, where some of the coastal areas of the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic hold on to those near-normal conditions. But overall, we are warming very quickly. But here's Saturday, where another cold front starts to move through. Here's Sunday, again, looking very cool for the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Eastern Canada, and even down through some of the Southeast. Here's Monday, where we're looking at a lot of the same. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is when that next cold front is about to move through. And we do get some cooler temperatures beginning to move eastward, although the immediate East Coast is seeing some warmer conditions as that front is just overhead by this frame. So we are expecting another cool down. So again, potentially 3 here on this particular model run. Let's look at the GFS model where, again, warmer for the near term, cold front number 1 there moving through. Here is cold front number 2 for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And then here we go, another one expected there. But look, this GFS model takes us into November, and we get an even more major cool down for early November, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That would be the 5th, 6th, 7th time frame. So perhaps a more major Arctic blast down the road as well. So overall, for you fall lovers that want it to be a little cooler than what's typical, there's a lot of that to come in the upcoming pattern. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.